Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Perception of a man's attractiveness. Now, before I even go any further, I want to give a shout out to a young man that's been commenting on many of my videos. Very thoughtful young man, Just Tay. And he had commented on my video, what if Lawrence was played by Idris Elba? And he had a very good comment, and actually didn't save the comment, but I'll give you the gist of it. Because he was talking about like the actor that played Lawrence on Insecure actually used to be a model, and he is 6'2", and there's still some women think he is attractive, right? And he said, he put an interesting scenario. What if Idris Elba was never Stringer Bell? And I was like, And I actually said that to somebody one time because, women go crazy over Idris Elba, but you gotta wonder, what if that dude never played like this intelligent drug dealer on The Wire? How would women perceive him? Indeed, I actually said that to somebody. Now, personally, it's hard for me. I never comment on somebody's looks, a male's looks, because I can't really tell. And the most, even using the Idris Elba example, that's just based on what women say, which I find to be interesting too, because I've had strangers say, oh yeah, you look like Idris Elba. Like, I personally think I look average, but it is perception. It is perception. Everything is a perception. Like even use Insecure as an example again. You got a lot of women who talking about Daniel. The character Daniel, and they like he's sexy, he's this and that. But the actor who played Daniel actually read for Lawrence's part. So what would it have been, say they switched roles? What if Lawrence was like the ex, the guy she wanted to cheat with, the guy from her past? And what if, the actor, I think it's Yolande Noel, what if he was playing Lawrence? How would women's perception of that attractiveness be? It's like, because one of the things with just attraction period, and this is more so for men than for women, like women can just be attractive anyway, regardless of what role they play. Men we just going to look, we're going to see a pretty face and like nice breast, I'm sorry, I didn't say it properly, nice breast and a nice ass, and she could play whatever role, we still going to be like she fine. But it's not really like that with men. It's not really like that. Very few men can play like just any role and be considered attractive. Case in point. Now, most women, and even many guys, see Boris Kodjoe as an attractive man, right? And indeed, use him as an example of that, pretty boy, all of that. He's known as a pretty boy, women going crazy. Yet there was this movie back in the day, and I forgot when it came out exactly. I'm going to be honest, time after a while, after you get older and stuff, something that happened like back in the 90s can seem like yesterday. But that's just a perception I have, right? But there was a movie, Love and Basketball, right? It had Omar Epps and Sanaa Lathan in it, right? Very good movie. But they also had Boris Kodjoe in it, but he was kind of presented like in a nerdy fashion, not as attractive, not as charismatic and all of that, And I remember seeing it. I was like, wow, they actually have Boris Kodjoe looking like a dork. But, physically, he didn't look that different. See, the thing with a man's attractiveness is never just his raw physical looks in many cases. A few men, very few men can get away with that. But then, it's also a combination of his style and everything. What's he known as? I mean, there's so many examples of this. Like Denzel Washington. That's actually a perfect example. If you really look at his different roles, the role he played in John Q versus the role he played in Training Day, it's totally two different energies. All it was a change in style. And I even got a personal story with regard to that, right? Now, even though I personally consider myself average looking, I've actually been approached several times to model. Like back in the day, especially. Back in the day, I'm slimmer now. I'm bigger, eating too many buffalo wings. But back in the day when I was working out more and, more cut up and everything, I used to get approached a lot. And actually went on, visited 2 modeling agencies because, they had me come in. Now, I remember I went to one modeling agency, right? And it was interesting the perception they had of me because the owner was right there, right? And I came in, I didn't come in dressed all fly and all of that, right? I came in like I was doing an interview at a law firm. Literally, I had on the suit, I had the glasses on, all of that. I mean, at the time, I'd never gone to any one of those things. I think that was the first time I went in when somebody had recruited me, right? And then, it's funny, the owner actually said to me, and she was being honest. She was like, you know what? You really don't look like a model, but you look like a businessman. And she had actually offered me something more on the business side, right? But then it was a funny thing. She had me walk anyway, right? Just do a walk, and I did a walk, and she was like, "Oh, wait a minute, well, shoot, we can have you out on the runway too." And yeah, honestly, that's because my mother used to model back in the day, and she actually taught me how to walk as a model. So, it's a funny thing, the perception, because, the perception was I walked in, looking like it was more about business, looking more serious. Now, if I walked in looking kind of fly, that would have been a different thing. All on perception, because that's one thing, just for the guys to understand. A lot of times it's very seldom just a physical thing. Like, I know this dude, right? And I could name drop this particular dude, and trust me, he actually has videos on YouTube, but he's not a part of that quote unquote manosphere, right? But I remember when I first met the dude, he had he just looked like a regular. He looked basic, even though I found out from women they thought he was very handsome, but he just looked he had like real short hair and stuff, and just dressed plain. But then he got into some stuff and actually went to a stylist, just to change his image a little bit. It was more for a monetary reason. Now, this dude can't get rid of women now because he let his hair grow out. He's locking it and all of that stuff. And all it did was change the perception of him. Now, he's still the same dude. He's really more of an intellectual cat. But that's how they perceived it. See, a lot of times it's just what role they playing, if they're actors, or how does somebody see them? Does somebody see them as like that cool player type or that more serious businessman type? Like I even had questioned at a seminar one time. I just asked the women. It was all women. It was supposed to be some men there, but that's another video why some men didn't show up. But these women, I say, okay, how do y'all perceive me? And they said, you seem like that college professor type, or businessman type, CEO type, right? They found, to them, I didn't look like I had ever been that player type, because I just didn't have like that, that the idea of the player is like that guy got kind of like that sports shirt on, maybe some some linen pants, linen sports shirt or something, which I've actually seen a couple players, like straight up players, smooth talking dudes look like that. More of that fun thing. The women just told me. It was kind of the same thing that modeling agency owner told me. It was like, you look more like a businessman, more like the serious type. but it was just all the perception, and that's the one thing to understand. This ain't just, of course, this wasn't, I used the insecure example and the example of actors, but this is mainly just some real game for men. Your perception ain't just your pure physical look, because I know there's a lot of men who feel like, yeah, it's just the pretty boys or the real handsome dudes that get all the play. But there's plenty of dudes who nominally non-select have some trouble, but a woman will actually say they physically attractive. A woman will say, hey, they got it, but, maybe their haircut is average, or maybe they just wear plain clothes, or they don't have any real style to them, which I'm going to be honest, I've actually encountered a lot of guys like that. They just didn't have like that style or something. They didn't give off the impression like they could tear it up in a bedroom or something. Even though they were nominally physically attractive. Right? But it was just a perception that, the women had of them. So it's something to think about. One of the things a man should take away from hearing this is, look, you do have some control over your level of attractiveness, even more so than women, really. Because a woman, she's either attractive or is not. A woman, if she got those, if she got a physically good body, we're gonna holler anyway. She could be wearing like a paper sack. Most guys gonna holler. Most. Let's just keep it real. There's some guys who are a little bit more tuned and looking for a deeper level of sex appeal, but if a woman, she walked down the street in like some sweats or something, but her butt big and her face pretty and the breasts is kicking, they gonna still holler. The man, maybe not so much. So that's it for today. That's some game, right? Just understanding those little nuances. Anyway, I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.